Charles,
Very briefly, because we're out of time.
yeah, you know, I've been in public service for a long time. I was advisor to Abdusalam Abubakar. I've been DG of BPE, I've been Minister of FCT and Governor of Kaduna State. I swear to you, I swear to God, I have never in my life taken a penny that I'm not entitled to. In fact, in Kaduna State, in my first term of office, because we took a vow along with my late deputy governor that we'll be donating 50% of our salaries and allowances back to the state coffers, I did that. I gave my own entitlements to the government, and I have treasury receipts for that.
Right.
I have never taken a penny of it, but somebody wants to destroy my reputation. Why? Nobody wants to be president in 2031.
Well,
he has to eliminate every northerner that
well,
he thinks is in the radar. That's what's going on.
All right, Barrister, this is what you pointed out earlier. Now, why I'm talking about this topic is what he said. El-Rufai said he has never, as a BPE chairman, as a FCT minister, as a governor of Kaduna State, he has never taken a dime that he was not entitled to. One, do you believe him? And if you do not, which I expect, of course, I do not, but if you do not, which I expect, why is Bola Tinubu not wielding, and including Nuhu Ribadu, as powerful as he is now, are not wielding their political power of authority against El-Rufai to bring him to submission, to bring him to bending his knees to them? If he is that corrupt, as we say, because I believe El-Rufai is stupendously corrupt. If he amassed wealth from government, from the public treasury, why is the Bola Tinubu government not bringing the weight of their administration on him?
From this way, it is like Amechi saying that he's not corrupt, that he doesn't like money. When you hear El-Rufai make those statements, as I told you, I have never, and I will never judge El-Rufai by his public statements. I live in Kaduna State, and there are a couple of things that we know. Number one of the things that they used to do, by virtue of his intelligence and his smartness, he knows what has been happening to governors, because governors were taking money directly from the treasury. You find the government house cashier will go to bank on Monday and bring 800 million, 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion cash. Wow. And they will deposit it in the government house. Now, that is a good trade. You only need to look at the account and you see that social person, the cashier, withdrew 1.5 billion cash on social day, on Monday, and took it to the governor. That trade is there, very clear. On Wednesday, they will do, maybe next week. It is a continuous affair. A smart and intelligent person who knows how governors have been hounded before, you will not follow that path. You use some subterfuge to get your own money that are difficult. You do an equivalent of IBB, where it is difficult to pin you down on this theft issue. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. Now, I'll give you one example. All the contractors that were working in Kaduna in the 8 years that Buhari did, there was a standing instruction that for every contract you are given, you submit 10% of the money to the party. Everybody knows that. So when he is saying that he does not take anything that does not belong to him, where is the money that the APC in Kaduna State used for the election? Where did the money come from? Where is the money that they used to bribe religious leaders and all these other people? Where did the money come from? Now, I just gave you one example. Contracts running into hundreds of billions were given during the 8 years of, and each of them you had to give 10% back to them. And if you didn't give you are written off. You are not ever going to get a contract in Kaduna State again. Such money, can you say it is his own money? Can you say it does not come from the public treasury? We know how these things are done. The open theft of taking from the treasury, you don't need to, if you are smart, you don't need to do it. But there are so many subtle ways around that you go around it and the money comes back to you. So when El-Rufai comes to talk that he has never taken money that does not belong to him, he is referring to open theft of funds that other governors and other people indulge in. But let him come out and say how he has been funding his political activities, how he has been funding bribery of religious leaders and other people in Kaduna State, how the APC in Kaduna State has been funding its activities in his 8 years of reign.
Okay.
And from there, we can see clearly what has
honestly,
happened.
let me be frank with you. I thought of what you just said because, like you said, and we always agree on this about El-Rufai. El-Rufai, as evil as he is, he's a very smart and intelligent man. He's brilliant. There's no doubt about that. So, and I thought that too, that El-Rufai must have actually, excuse me, closed, at least taking care of his tracks. Make sure
there
that
are ways and means of covering
of doing the whatever.
tracks.
But however, when you are dealing with the government is powerful, barrister. Let me ask you as a lawyer, this time around as a lawyer. In law, do you have witnesses? Witnesses, obviously, no. There are areas where witnesses are very, very credible and viable. But in this case, in the case of corruption, even if you don't have paper trail, even if you don't have real trail of evidence, but you have human beings as your evidence, people who you use as instruments, people who you use as messengers, as errand boys or ladies, to run all this, to do all this corrupt stuff. Are people like that viable in the law, in court, to prove a case, a corruption case against someone? Please, very short answer to that.
Yes,
then I'll move to the next question.
Those are the people that the EFCC usually use before governor.
Are they viable in court?
As
Can they
of
get
today,
to judgment?
As of today, his commissioner for finance has been charged to court. His chief of staff is facing corruption charges.
Good.
In Kaduna State. His own commissioner of finance is facing criminal charges. His own chief of staff is facing criminal charges. When the House of Assembly carried out an investigation, they came out with 320-something billion
yes.
funds. It is on the basis of that calls have been made repeatedly for the prosecution of El-Rufai. But like I said, the direct trade will not be there. But when you catch this thing, it is like something in motion. It has not yet.
Yeah, that's what that's saying. Now all these people are in court. That's what I'm saying now. Because like I said earlier, you and I know how powerful a government can be, especially when it comes to the national government. Now, these people are in court because everybody they want to save their neck. It happened in the US during the Donald Trump campaign time prior to his winning the election, the last election. You've been following the politics here. You're following the court cases, corruption cases against Donald Trump. Then where they couldn't, because they couldn't get Donald Trump, they couldn't get evidence against him. They went after the people around him to coerce them, to threaten them, and coerce them. And some of them actually, including some big-time lawyers, they actually some of the witnesses actually chickened out and went into a kind of plea bargain, a kind of made the agreement with the world so that they can flip against Donald Trump. This is the same scenario I'm seeing here happening if El-Rufai is truly corrupt. Do you see a scenario where all these commissioners and all these aides that were relevant financial authorities during the El-Rufai era, or as a governor, Do you see them flipping on? Of course, they will, because they will be threatened with jail and here and there. Do you see them as viable witnesses against El-Rufai in court? And if they are viable witnesses, can such witnesses bring bring positive judgment against an accused in corruption case?
What is a witness? A witness is a person who saw, heard, or perceived.
So in corruption case, you don't necessarily need paper trail that links the person, that have a link to the person directly. You don't need that.
It may not be paper trail. Like I gave you an example. The governor, most of the times, does not sign checks. The governor does not go to the bank. There's a cashier in the government house. There are several permanent secretaries in the government house, some in charge of finance. These issues of money are dealt with by them. Now, they can make a memo to the governor. If, for instance, now they say go and withdraw 1 billion from the bank and bring it, and you, the cashier, you are the one to sign the withdrawal, this thing, the bank camera will capture you as the person who withdrew this money. Now, when the EFCC or security agencies look at those tapes, they now come to you that you withdrew this money. What did you do with it? Now you have to make a statement. I'm a cashier in the government house. I withdrew this money. I took it to the government house. You gave it to who? That is the tray. That tray is not paper tray anymore. When you start saying, I took the money to government house, I gave to social person. That person, how did you end up spending that money? That is no longer paper tray, but it's evidential. It's evidential of what happened. And when that money is being spent at the behest or instructions of the governor, then that governor can be charged if the withdrawal and this thing does not correspond to the approved budgetary estimates and of the state and other issues, or if it is taken and misapplied for purposes that were not approved for, the governor can stand charged and be convicted. Most of the governors you see being convicted is because of something like that.
Okay.
Going into billions. They never themselves went to take any money.
So, okay.
But it comes back to them.
All right. Now, why I am interested in this case is because of Peter Obi. The viability of an El-Rufai teaming up with Peter Obi, because if we have this scenario of playing out, it obviously means that El-Rufai may not successfully back Peter Obi, at least not publicly, because the powers that be, the political bigwigs, the government, current Bola Tinubu government, will bring down the weight of their power, their government power on El-Rufai. Like you noted, we have El-Rufai's surrogates and the former commissioners who are already in court over a corruption case. I bet you they will strike deals and threaten all those people in court to to rightfully open up, tell the truth on exactly what happened. Otherwise, they will probably rot in jail. So honestly, this is not a bad. This is a bad development or possibility. Honestly, I don't know if you see that, if you think along if you agree with me in this postulation that I just made.
Well, you have to understand that the government first played its own hand, and the matters quickly. The chief of staff and the commissioner of finance were detained for a very long time, and the bail conditions were so harsh that they could not meet them They were in prison for a relatively long period. Now, that gave the El-Rufai time to also maneuver. Now, you see, there's a sensitivity here, there's a dilemma. Why, at the same time, you want to go after him prosecutorally? You also have to recognize that he is a strong opposition figure. It can backfire if you should just arrest Rufai and charge him to court. No matter what you say, he has a constituency, and then it will be perceived as a persecution of a political opponent. So when the government wants to take certain things, they are careful. They measure the pros and cons of charging and El-Rufai a vocal opponent. He went ahead of the government. He was a step ahead of the government by doing all these things politically, announcing all these steps he wants to take to bring down the government, by which he now became a prominent opposition figure. So if you want to go after him, you have to weigh the pros and cons of doing that. You may even make him more popular than than leaving him as it is, particularly when you are struggling with northern voters. If you take somebody like him, you can even succeed in making him more popular than he is currently. So you weigh the options both ways, and then you decide that, okay, we can take his lieutenants. We can deal with his lieutenant, but dealing with him, maybe at the end, if we are pushed to the wall, we may come after him.
Okay, I think I agree with you, and I hope and pray that is the case, because I need someone like El-Rufai to back someone like Peter Obi against Atiku, because Atiku is just annoying and irritating right now. He needs to be put in his place. Sort of. All right. As bad as I don't like to do this, having an El-Rufai with Peter Obi, can you imagine the stark difference? We're just bringing light and darkness together to work together. I never see. Anyway, in politics, that's the only way you see the light. It's only in politics you find light and darkness working together. This is the reason why I hate politics. This is the reason why I hate democracy. That's the point. Where you just be compelled, you don't have an option but just to bring light and darkness. Barrister, bring light and darkness to work together. This is the reason why I hate democracy. Nothing else.